To every new person finding this search tonight, my name is Joseph. I offer you a sincere welcome. We walk a difficult path here, one lit only by the lantern of truth. We move carefully, with respect for the facts and for the people caught in the storm. If you believe in this kind of patient, persistent pursuit, please consider subscribing. It is free, and it signals your commitment to looking deeper, beyond the easy answers and the loudest voices. Tonight, we must hold two terrible ideas in our minds at once, and see which one is heavier. For 8 months now, a quiet has settled over a place called Lansdown Station. It is not peaceful and quiet. It is the quiet of a held breath. Of a question hanging in the air, slowly being forgotten by the world. Lily and Jack Sullivan, just 6 and 4 years old, vanished from their home on a morning in May. The sirens are gone. The search teams have packed away their gear. The news trucks have rolled on to other tragedies. All that is left is the land, the whispering trees, and a single, pounding question that the silence makes deafening. Why is nobody in handcuffs? In the absence of answers, people create their own. A public story has begun to write itself. It is a story many find comforting because it makes a tragedy feel like an accident of nature, not an act of man. The story says that 2 small children simply wandered away. Through an unlocked door, past a broken fence, and into the vast woods. They got lost. The elements claimed them. It is a heartbreaking story, but a simple one. It requires no villain. This story has become a shield for the parents, Malaya and Daniel. Their continued freedom is seen by many as the final word. Look, people say. The police have searched the house. They took their phones. They brought in dogs that can smell death itself. They found nothing. If there was evidence of a crime, they would have found it. If the parents were guilty, they would have cracked by now. They would be in jail. Online, this view hardens into a kind of verdict. The comments scroll by, a chorus of weary certainty. They've suffered enough. Let them grieve in peace. The police aren't stupid. If there was something to find, they'd have found it. It was a terrible accident. Stop trying to make it a mystery. The pressure to accept this is immense. It allows us to feel sad without feeling angry. It lets us offer sympathy without suspicion. The parents, in this light, are no longer subjects of an investigation. They are pure victims, doubly wounded, first by loss, then by doubt. Their quiet struggle, their avoidance of the media circus, seems like dignity. Like the raw, real grief of innocent people. But I must ask you to do something very difficult. I must ask you to hold that thought, and then to listen to the echoes from other towns, other tragedies, where the comforting timeline proved to be a lie. Let us travel first to Manchester, New Hampshire. Meet a little girl named Harmony Montgomery. She was 5 years old. In December of 2019, her life was ended by her own father. But the world did not know. For 2 long years, there was no alarm, no search, no headline. Her father, Adam Montgomery, walked free. He lived his life in the open. The silence was absolute. It was only when Harmony's mother, sick with worry after years of no contact, finally went to the police in 2021 that the machinery of justice even began to turn. It then took months more of painstaking work to arrest him. 2 years of freedom after the act. 2 years where the truth was buried, not in the ground, but in plain sight. Now let us go to the mountains of Colorado. Meet a boy named Dylan Redwine. He was 13. He went for a court-ordered Thanksgiving visit to his father's house in 2012. He and his father argued. Dylan did not want to be there. He was never seen alive again. What followed was not a quick arrest. It was an agony in slow motion. Investigators found Dylan's blood in his father's living room, on the couch, on the floor, soaked into the rug. A dog trained to find the scent of death signaled strongly inside that house and in the bed of the father's truck. Dylan's remains were found months later, miles away. His skull, bearing the marks of violence, was found over 2 years after that. And yet, Mark Redwine remained a free man. He gave television interviews. He appeared on talk shows. He lived under a cloud of suspicion so dark the whole country could see it. Still, it took the authorities nearly 5 years to bring charges. 5 years of building a case, piece by painful piece. Let these numbers sit with you. 2 years. 5 years. These were not mysteries without evidence. In Dylan's case, the evidence was shockingly clear, painted in blood. These were cases where the father was the obvious suspect from the very first hour. And yet, the path to an arrest was a marathon, not a sprint. It was a war of attrition against lies, against concealment, against the terrible challenge of proving what happens behind a closed door when no one else is watching. Now, bring your mind back to Lansdown Station. Back to Malaya and Daniel. The public, seeing no arrest, leans toward the simple story. The wandering accident. But history is whispering a warning. It tells us that the absence of handcuffs does not mean the absence of guilt. It can mean the presence of patience. Of a calculation. Of a secret buried so deep it takes seasons to unearth. These old cases cast long, cold shadows over the quiet property in Nova Scotia. What if the fact that they found no blood does not mean there was no violence? What if it means it was a different kind of violence? A tragedy that leaves no visible stain? What if the dogs found nothing because the children were never dead on that property? What if they were taken from it, alive or otherwise, to a place only one person knew? What if the removal of 2 small bodies was not the panicked act of a terrified parent, but the first cold, logical step in a plan? Daniel is said to be a man who works with heavy equipment. A man who knows the land, knows how to dig, knows how to shape the earth. The online world, once settling on the accident theory, now trembles with this new doubt. The old hashtags are joined by new, ominous ones. Look at what happened to Harmony Montgomery. Remember Dylan Redwine. The comments fracture again. You can't say no arrest means innocent. Not after Colorado. Not after New Hampshire. They had custody issues. They had problems. Are we just ignoring that? This is cruel. You're comparing these grieving parents to monsters. Leave them alone. Through this darker lens, the behavior of the parents is re-examined. Their decision to stay away from the cameras and the microphones no longer looks just like dignified grief. To a newly suspicious eye, it looks like a strategy. Like avoidance. Their life, continuing in the shadow of an unimaginable loss, does it show resilience, or does it show the chilling ability to compartmentalize? To live a double life, one of outward mourning and inward knowledge? We are left in the most agonizing space of all. The space of not knowing. The investigation is not closed. It is dormant. It is a seed under frozen ground. The police file is still open. They are waiting. They are waiting for a phone call from a former friend with a guilty conscience. They are waiting for a hiker to find something in a remote ravine next spring. They are waiting for a technology that can pull a voice from the static of an old cell phone tower. They are playing the long, slow game that true justice sometimes requires. The Sullivan family lives in this purgatory. They are watched. They are whispered about in the grocery store. They are both pitted and suspected. Every day they remain free, the public's judgment swings like a pendulum. For some, each day is further proof they have suffered enough. For others, each day is further proof that they have gotten away with something. The truth is out there. It is trapped in the silence of a person who knows. Or it is buried under the roots of a pine tree on a distant hillside. It is waiting. And the waiting is its own kind of torture. So we must sit with the suspended questions, the ones that have no answers yet. Has the simple, sad story of a wandering accident become so convenient that it has accidentally protected a darker truth? Is the public's demand for quick answers and swift justice actually the enemy of the slow, careful work that solves the hardest cases? Who else, beyond the parents, had a reason to make 2 children vanish without a single trace? Will the break in this case come from a detective's brilliant hunch, or from a relationship crumbling under the weight of a shared secret? This is the heavy burden of the long silence. It means we must live with uncertainty. We must hold our judgment. We must allow for the possibility of both terrible truths, the tragic accident and the hidden crime, until the land or the conscience of a person finally gives up the answer. Subscribe. Stay with us in this difficult space. We will be here, watching the calendar, tracing the echoes from other towns, and listening. Always listening. For the crack in the silence. For the sound of the truth, however terrible, finally coming to light. The story of Lily and Jack Sullivan is not over. It is waiting. And the most powerful force in any investigation is not always speed. Sometimes, it is the relentless, patient wait of time. What will time finally reveal?